Okay, so I was just simulating through NBA 2K21, doing some My League videos, and then all of a sudden I come across this in the offseason. Road to the #1 pick, and it got me curious. I read what's underneath. Teams battle it out in an elimination tournament for the ultimate prize, the #1 pick in this summer's draft. I had no idea this was in the game, but when we click on this, as you can see, 2K has added a tournament into the game to determine who gets the #1 pick. So we have all of the worst teams in the NBA right now, I guess. Even though a lot of these teams were good this season, I guess they're not doing great now. I mean, like the Rockets, Trailblazers, Utah Jazz, OKC, Raptors, Miami, LA Clippers were all some of the top teams in the 2020 NBA season. Now we're in 2022 and they're some of the worst teams. So this is a super cool thing that 2K added. I don't think most people even know this is in because they pretty much kept it a secret. I looked it up on YouTube and nobody made a video of this yet. So in today's video, we're just going to be finding out what would happen if the NBA ran a tournament for the #1 pick. So it looks like we got 3 rounds here. I'm not sure if you get the #1 pick because it looks like it only goes to semifinals. It might be semifinals and then those 4 just duke it out in the lottery. But first round, you can kind of see all of the teams we have here. These are the worst teams in the NBA. I believe the higher seed you are was the lower seed you were in real life. So let's come over to the East and go to win-loss. And yeah, the Pistons were the worst team in the East and the Rockets were the worst team in the West. Even though they still have Westbrook and Harden, it's kind of the same team as they have now, but they got so much worse. They got Eric Gordon. They still got Rocco. But they're just performing really, really bad. I'm not sure about these 2K21 simulations. The worst 2 teams have the top seed. They have the highest chance because they don't have to play as much. And pretty much whoever wins this tournament gets the #1 pick. Let's find out what happens here, starting off in round #1. Okay, so I simulated through the Toronto-Phoenix game, and it looks like all of these games are a best of 1. So it's kind of like March Madness, but Toronto is going to get the elimination on Phoenix. So a little bit of an upset right there. The higher seeds are the worst teams. You got to remember that when we're doing this thing. So Raptors is going to be moving on to the quarterfinals. Up next, we got the Pacers versus the Clippers. And yet again, I accidentally simulated too far. I want to get some gameplay here, but the Pacers are going to get the W over the Clippers. Again, the worst team getting the W. Next game, we got the Thunder facing off against the Jazz. And Utah is going to take this game quite easily. I forget which team was actually the higher seed, but Utah with a complete blowout here. I mean, they still got Donovan Mitchell. I don't think they got Rudy Gobert on the team anymore, so they lost out on Rudy. But still a very solid team. OKC with Chris Paul and DeMarcus Cousins. So a lot of these teams are completely different because we're 2 years in the future. But let's move on to our next game. Next up, we got the Trailblazers facing off against the Hornets. So the Jazz were actually the better team against OKC, and they got the W. So the first time that happened. But up next, we got the Trailblazers facing off against the Hornets. And we got a really close one here. Trailblazers up by 2 points with 45 seconds left. CJ and Lillard both on the Trailblazers still. Same with Hassan Whiteside and Joseph Nurkic, but somehow they're performing awful. Hornets picked up Clint Capella as well as Dennis Schroeder, but I'm surprised they're doing so good against the Trailblazers. Lillard from 3. That is no good. Hornets with another chance to tie this or take the lead. Schroeder inside. Good defense. That is no good. And now they're going to have to foul. And if Lillard hits these free throws, that should be game right there. So they ended up having to foul again. CJ at the line. First free throw is good to go. And the second one is no good. So the Hornets can still tie this thing up. Moreland going to take the 3, and it is good. The Hornets tie it up. Trailblazers with the chance to win it here. Lillard from 3, and that is good as well. So the Trailblazers with the 3-point lead. Hornets gonna have to put up a half-point heave or a half-court heave. It's no good. Trailblazers moving on. Just looking at the Trailblazers team, they are one of the better team, if not the best team in this tournament. So I'm surprised it even came down to this. Next up, we got the Heat and Wizards facing off. The Heat are the better team here with the 13th seed, which is actually the second worst seed. So they're the second best team in this tournament, only behind the Knicks. Surprisingly, the Trailblazers were the 7th seed. I don't know how, because they're looking like one of the best teams in this tournament. And the Wizards are going to win this one quite easily. They got an 8-second violation right away. Wizards with Bradley Beal. Heat, they still got Jimmy Butler. They ended up picking up Kyle Lowry. Hopping into our final game of the first round, we got the Kings facing off against the Knicks. The Knicks are the best team in this tournament. They're the lowest seed, making them the best team, which is kind of surprising. I don't know who they ended up getting. And the Knicks are going to end up winning this one pretty easily. Looking at their team, they got Michael Porter Jr. added on there. But other than that, it doesn't look like they have too many great players. So that's going to conclude our first round, making it to the quarterfinals. Of course, we got Detroit and Houston, who are automatically there because they're the two worst teams in the league. We got Pacers, Portland, Washington, Toronto, Utah, and New York all moving on. Let's see which two teams can make the semifinals. And the Raptors are going to win this one easily, up by 26 with 25 seconds left. It looks like the Raptors ended up getting Lonzo Ball. And I think if the games are just a blowout, I'm just going to simulate through it like this. Jazz going to win this one quite easily here, winning 122 to 105. So they're going to be moving on to the semifinals. And this game was pretty close until the end here. The Pistons just running away with the victory at the end of the game. In terms of who the Pistons have, they got Darrell Webb III. Blake Griffin's still on the team, except he's gone down quite a bit. He's 33 years old now. And all in all, looking like really nobody on the squad. Whereas for the Pacers, I mean, they still got Victor Oladipo. He's only an 81. So it looks like he hasn't gotten back to his old self. They got Malcolm Brogdon still. They still got Sabonis. So honestly, the Pacers looking like a little bit of a better team, but the Pistons getting the W there. And heading to our final game of the quarterfinals, we got the Rockets facing off against the Trailblazers. Rockets still an amazing team. They got Westbrook, Harden, Rocco, Eric Gordon still on the team, but somehow being the worst team in the West, they ended up in this tournament. The Trailblazers are gonna blow out the Rockets. What is going on with these simulations? Harden with only 23 points. He's a 95 overall. Westbrook's dropped down to an 87. And if we go over to the Trailblazers, CJ McCollum dropping 38 points this game. Damian Lillard is a 94 overall. He dropped 34 points. I mean, this is just crazy. The Trailblazers are looking like the team that's going to take this. We're moving on to the semifinals. I don't know what happens here. I don't know if there's a finals at all, or if this is just to determine the two top teams, and they, I don't know, get a random 50-50 chance at getting the first pick. Well, let's find out. First game is going to be the Pistons versus the Raptors. And we finally have a close one here. Raptors up by 1 point with 1 minute left in this game. So this is still anybody's game. Blake Griffin with the ball. Hop step inside, and he gets the reverse layup to go. Crowd just got super loud right there. We are in the year 2022, so we'll probably have crowds back by them. Siakam, nice mid-range shot right there, giving the Raptors the lead. Blake Griffin inside, he gets the easy layup, and now the lead back to the Pistons. We're just going back and forth here. So that's actually is Dwight Powell, number 7 right there. Hernandez, I don't know who that is. It's not Aaron Hernandez. Pistons with the ball again. If one of these teams got to score, take a lead. Webb inside, he gets the layup to fall now. It's literally just back and forth. There's pretty much no defense happening. So Raptors need to score right here. If they can run out the time, go for a last second shot. Garner to Ibaka, who gets a big dunk. And now the Raptors. So 10 seconds left in the game. Let's see what the Pistons do. Are they going to wait for the clock to run out? Blake Griffin inside, and that layup is good. Raptors left with 4.6 seconds to score. Lonzo Ball gonna have the ball. He's gonna have to shoot up a deep 3. That is no good. And the Detroit Pistons are gonna win this game and move on to the finals, or just like the 50-50 chance of getting the first pick. I'm not exactly sure what happens. For some reason, every time I quit, my VC earnings can't be saved, so I gotta quit out and then go back in every time. Detroit's gonna get the W there, so I believe they got a 50-50 chance with whoever wins on the right side of the bracket. But coming in as the worst team, winning it is pretty impressive right there. But our final game of this tournament, we got the Trailblazers facing off against the Utah Jazz. And again, we have a super close game, 122 to 122. 22 seconds left in this game. Donovan Mitchell with the ball. Let's see what he's going to do. Is he looking like he's just going to hold it, try to take that last second shot and get the W? don't give Portland a chance at all. 5 seconds left on the shot clock. Getting the screen from Montrezl Harrell. He misses. Montrez with the board, and the second chance points are good. Portland only with 0.2 seconds left, so they're gonna have to go for like a tip in here. You need 0.3 seconds in order to actually shoot the ball. So it's looking like Utah is gonna get the W here. And they go for the shot, which they didn't have enough time to do at all. And Utah is going to defeat Portland. I mean, both of these teams were still super good. Portland pretty much has the same team as they do today, except they'd be even better because CJ got worse somehow, but Lillard getting quite a bit better at a 95. Donovan Mitchell is up to a 92. No Rudy Gobert on the team anymore. He's replaced by Montrezl Harrell. So getting a little worse on the Jazz. So I'm kind of surprised that the Jazz ended up winning the right side of the bracket. Okay, so there is a tournament finals here. I wasn't sure if that was going to happen or not, but they added a tournament finals once we got through the beginning part of the tournament. And we have the Pistons facing off against the Jazz, the worst team in this entire tournament, facing off against the 11th worst team, of course, by record of the last season. Let's see which team is going to win this thing. And I don't know how, but this game is actually really close. The Jazz up by 6 points with 30 seconds left. The Jazz should have just blown the Pistons out of the water here, being a much better team than them. Blake Griffin gonna miss the shot there. So Pistons still with a chance here. McRae from 3, that's no good. And that is going to be game right there. The Utah Jazz are going to be the winner of our draft lottery tournament, and we'll end up getting the #1 overall pick. I want to see what happens here. There's like a trophy celebration or anything? No, it just ends like a normal game. Bogdanovich with a big game, dropping 29 points. Donovan Mitchell with 24 points right here. Oh, Jazz are our winner of this tournament. They're going to end up getting the first overall pick. And that's kind of what would happen if the NBA decided to put a draft lottery tournament into the game. I think it's super cool. It'd be cool if they actually did this in real life. And I'm surprised that 2K even put this in the game and didn't tell anybody about it at all. So I believe everything is determined by that. So if we come over here, there's no draft lottery or anything like that. But if we come over to the NBA draft, everything should have been based off that tournament right there. So if we pause the draft, can we just look at draft summary? So yeah, Jazz get the first pick, Pistons with the second pick, then Raptors, Trailblazers, Thunder, and we just go down the line. Of course, some teams traded their picks, so they're not going to have it. But that tournament, literally from first seed to the last seed in that tournament, determined the seeding. And that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did enjoy it, smash that like button. Go try this out for yourselves in the game. This has been your boy Smequle though, and I'll see you next time. Peace.
Hey, Bill, I'm in the mood for a switch up. I hit the function, hit the rose till I hiccup. I hit the stage and leave with money that's a stick up. She picture perfect, so I told him I'm a flick up.